On a bitter January morning in rural Montana, Animal Control Officer Sarah Martinez received a call that would change multiple lives forever. The report was brief. A German shepherd, chained behind an abandoned property, had been barking through the night. It wasn't an unusual call in this remote area, but something in the neighbor's voice made Sarah drive out immediately. The property sat at the end of a dirt road, the old farmhouse's windows boarded up and weeds growing wild through cracks in the concrete. As Sarah walked around back, the sound of rattling chains grew louder. Then she saw him, a German shepherd, his coat matted and dull, tethered to a rusted car axle by a heavy logging chain that had worn a circular path in the frozen ground. The dog's reaction to her presence wasn't aggression or fear, but something that broke her heart even more: complete indifference. His eyes, once probably bright with intelligence, were vacant, staring at nothing in particular. Years of neglect had taught him that humans were neither threat nor comfort. They simply existed in a world separate from his endless circle of chain-wrapped existence. Sarah approached slowly, speaking softly. The dog, whom she would later name Rex, didn't move. His chain, she discovered, was wrapped multiple times around his neck, the links having gradually embedded themselves into his skin as he grew, creating calluses and scarring. A crude wooden shelter made from rotting pallets offered little protection from Montana's harsh elements. The ground around him was littered with empty cans and the remnants of sporadic feeding by concerned neighbors who'd been too afraid to report the situation. Documentation was crucial for prosecution. Sarah's hands shook with both cold and emotion as she photographed everything: the chain's anchor point, the inadequate shelter, the lack of water, the bowl had frozen solid, and Rex's physical condition. Close-ups revealed other signs of long-term neglect. His nails had grown so long they curled under his paws, and his ears bore the scars of untreated infections. Through county records and neighbor accounts, Rex's story slowly emerged. He had been purchased as a puppy by the property's former owner, who had initially kept him as a guard dog. When the owner was arrested on drug charges 5 years ago, Rex was simply left behind. Family members would occasionally drop off food, but none took responsibility for the dog. He had spent 5 years, roughly 1,825 days, watching the world from the end of a chain. The neighbors who finally reported the situation had recently moved to the area. They spoke of hearing him bark at night, especially when temperatures dropped below freezing. They had tried feeding him and giving him water, but the chain prevented them from getting close enough to help more directly. The wife tearfully described watching him try to run after birds, only to be yanked back by the chain, a scene that had played out countless times over the years. Most haunting was Rex's reaction to other dogs. When Sarah brought out treats, she noticed he had no idea how to take food gently from a human hand. He had never been taught. The simple act of kindness seemed to confuse him. His food aggression suggested years of irregular feeding, having to guard what little he received against raccoons and other wildlife. The property's electric meter showed no activity for the past 3 years. Rex had endured Montana summers and winters with only his inadequate shelter. The worn circle in the ground told its own story. Approximately 12 feet in diameter, this had been Rex's entire world. The chain had not only restricted his movement, but had literally shaped his development. His muscles had developed unevenly from the constant circular movement, and his spine showed signs of warping from years of pulling against the weight. A search of local veterinary clinics confirmed what Sarah suspected. Rex had never received medical care. No vaccinations, no heartworm prevention, no treatment for the various injuries and ailments he must have endured. It was a miracle he had survived, especially through the brutal winters. The resilience of his breed, combined with occasional help from neighbors, had somehow kept him alive. The decision to remove Rex immediately was complicated by his size and the chain itself. The links had become so embedded that removal would require medical intervention. Sarah called for backup, including a veterinary technician with sedation equipment. As they waited, she sat near Rex, not touching him but letting him know that something, finally, was about to change. Dr. Emma Chen had seen countless cases of animal abuse in her 15 years as a veterinary surgeon, but Rex's condition left her momentarily speechless. The German Shepherd lay sedated on her examination table, his matted fur revealing the full extent of his injuries under the harsh clinic lights. The chain, now finally removed, had left a permanent groove around his neck, the skin calloused and scarred from years of constant contact. "The immediate concerns are severe," she explained to Sarah Martinez, who had stayed at the clinic well past her shift. "Malnutrition, muscle atrophy, chronic infections, and potential heart issues from the heartworm we detected. But it's the psychological trauma that might be our biggest challenge." The veterinarian gently touched Rex's paw, noting how even under sedation, his muscles tensed at human contact. The first surgery lasted 4 hours. Dr. Chen carefully debrided the necrotic tissue around his neck, treated the extensive infection sites, and removed several embedded fragments of chain link that had worked their way under his skin over the years. X-rays revealed old fractures that had healed incorrectly, likely from violent yanking against the chain, and severe arthritis in his hips from years of walking in circles. The clinic's staff worked in shifts to monitor Rex during his critical first week. His blood work showed severe anemia and organ stress from years of poor nutrition. The heartworm treatment had to be delayed until he was stronger, making each day a careful balance of medication and supportive care. At night, technicians would sit by his kennel, reading or talking softly, helping him understand that darkness didn't have to mean loneliness anymore. Physical therapy began gradually. Lisa, the clinic's rehabilitation specialist, started with gentle passive movements while Rex was still recovering from surgery. "His muscles have essentially forgotten how to move normally," she explained during a treatment session. 5 years of restricted movement has created severe imbalances. We're basically teaching his body how to be a dog again. The breakthrough came during his 3rd week of recovery. Amy, a young vet tech, was cleaning his kennel when Rex made his first voluntary move toward human contact. It was small, just a slight shift to rest his head against her knee, but it brought tears to her eyes. The staff celebrated this tiny victory, understanding it represented a profound shift in Rex's worldview. Water therapy proved particularly challenging. Rex had never seen a pool before, and his first reaction was pure terror. Dr. Chen's team designed a special harness that would help him feel secure while allowing his muscles to move freely in the water. Progress was measured in seconds. 3 seconds of relaxation the first day, 5 the next, gradually building his confidence along with his strength. The heartworm treatment, when it finally began, was another battle. Rex's body, weakened by years of neglect, struggled with the harsh medication. There were nights when the staff wasn't sure he would make it, his breathing labored and his fever spiking. During one particularly rough night, Dr. Chen slept on the clinic floor beside his kennel, monitoring his vital signs and providing the constant presence he seemed to need. Regular grooming sessions became part of his therapy, both physical and emotional. Years of matted fur had to be carefully removed, each session requiring infinite patience as Rex learned to accept being touched. The staff discovered he had particularly sensitive areas around his ears, likely from chronic, untreated infections. They worked to make grooming a positive experience, incorporating treats and gentle praise. As his physical health improved, Rex's personality began to emerge. The vacant stare that had haunted Sarah since his rescue was gradually replaced by a spark of interest in his surroundings. He started watching the clinic's activities with growing curiosity, his ears perking up at familiar voices. The staff noticed he had a particular fascination with children's voices whenever young patients brought their pets to the clinic. Behavioral rehabilitation ran parallel to his medical treatment. Victoria, an animal behaviorist specializing in trauma cases, developed a careful protocol for Rex's care. Every interaction was structured to help him understand that humans could be predictable and safe. The simple act of putting on a collar, a necessary evil for his recovery, had to be approached with extreme sensitivity given his history. Learning to walk on a leash presented unique challenges. The feeling of any restraint would trigger panic attacks, sending Rex into a state of complete shutdown. Victoria introduced a lightweight therapy harness, allowing him to feel the freedom of his shoulders and neck. They started in the clinic's small indoor rehabilitation room, where Rex could see all exits and feel secure in his surroundings. Small victories accumulated. The first time he wagged his tail at a greeting, his first voluntary step toward the therapy pool, the morning he actually showed interest in his food bowl rather than just guarding it. Each milestone was documented in his medical record, creating a testament to his resilience and the dedication of his care team. 3 months into his recovery, Dr. Chen finally felt confident enough to begin planning the next phase of Rex's journey. His physical wounds had largely healed, though the scars would remain. The heartworm treatment had been successful, and his blood work showed remarkable improvement. While he would always bear the marks of his past, both physical and emotional, he was finally ready to learn what it meant to be a beloved pet rather than a prisoner. Finding the right foster home for Rex was crucial. After careful screening, Dr. Chen selected Kate Morrison, a retired canine handler who specialized in rehabilitating traumatized German shepherds. Kate's ranch-style home sat on 5 fenced acres, providing the perfect environment for a dog who needed both space and security. The day Rex left the clinic marked a bittersweet milestone. The staff who had nursed him back to health gathered to say goodbye, many with tears in their eyes. Dr. Chen handed Kate a thick folder containing Rex's medical history and rehabilitation protocol, along with something special, a photo album documenting his journey from rescue to recovery. "So he'll always remember how far he's come," she explained, her voice thick with emotion. Kate had prepared meticulously for Rex's arrival. Her home was arranged to create clear sight lines and easy escape routes, crucial for a dog with trauma. She'd set up multiple safe spaces, covered beds and crates where Rex could retreat when feeling overwhelmed. Most importantly, she'd cleared her schedule for the next several months, dedicating herself entirely to Rex's rehabilitation. The first few days were about observation. Rex explored his new environment with cautious curiosity, mapping exits and testing boundaries. Kate noticed how he would freeze at certain sounds. The rattle of chains on her wind chime sent him into panic, leading to their immediate removal. The clink of metal food bowls triggered food aggression, so she switched to ceramic dishes. Each reaction provided insight into his past traumas. Sleep proved to be one of the biggest challenges. Rex's internal clock was still set to his years of outdoor living. He would pace anxiously at night, unable to settle. Kate began sleeping on a mattress in the living room, allowing him to see her at all times. Gradually, night by night, he learned that darkness didn't mean danger anymore. The breakthrough with toys came unexpectedly. Kate had left several around the house, but Rex had shown no interest, not understanding their purpose. Then one morning she found him tentatively mouthing a soft, plush sheep. His expression was almost comical, confusion mixed with delight at the squeaking sound. That sheep became his constant companion, the first possession he could truly call his own. Physical therapy continued daily. Kate set up obstacle courses in the yard, each designed to help Rex develop natural movement patterns. The circular walking habit from his chained years was hard to break. He would unconsciously begin walking in loops when stressed. Kate worked with him using positive reinforcement, encouraging straight-line walking with treats and praise. Learning basic dog behaviors proved both challenging and heartbreaking. Rex had never played with other dogs, never learned canine social cues. Kate arranged careful introductions with her neighbor's elderly golden retriever, a gentle soul named Buddy. Their first interaction was awkward. Rex had no idea how to respond to playbows or friendly approaches. Buddy, somehow sensing Rex's inexperience, became a patient teacher. The swimming pool in Kate's yard became a turning point in Rex's physical recovery. Unlike the clinical therapy pool, this was a gradual slope design that allowed him to walk in at his own pace. Kate would spend hours sitting by the pool's edge, tossing floating toys just within reach. Gradually, Rex discovered the joy of weightless movement, his damaged muscles finding relief in the water. Each day brought new discoveries. The feeling of grass under his paws led to his first playful roll. The sound of birds triggered his natural hunting instincts, leading to comical attempts at stalking. Kate found him one morning standing in a light rain shower, head lifted to the sky, seeming to marvel at the sensation of water on his face. Food remained a complex issue. Years of irregular feeding had created deep-seated insecurities. Kate established a strict routine, feeding Rex at exactly the same times each day. She would sit nearby as he ate, reading aloud from books, helping him associate meal times with calm and companionship rather than competition and fear. The most profound changes were emotional. The vacant look in Rex's eyes was replaced by an increasingly expressive awareness. He began seeking out affection, initially just standing near Kate, then progressing to gentle head bumps against her leg. The first time he rolled over for a belly rub, Kate spent an hour on the floor with him, both of them basking in the milestone of trust it represented. Training started with the basics. Rex proved to be highly intelligent, quickly grasping commands once he understood that learning could be rewarding and fun. Kate used clicker training, the sharp sound distinctly different from his trauma triggers. He especially enjoyed scent work, his German Shepherd instincts shining through as he learned to find hidden treats and toys. Visitors to the house became opportunities for controlled socialization. Each new person was instructed in Rex's body language and boundaries. To everyone's surprise, he showed a particular gentleness with children, though Kate was always careful to supervise these interactions. Something about their innocent energy seemed to bring out his protective instincts. As weeks turned into months, Rex's transformation became evident in countless ways. His coat grew thick and glossy from proper nutrition. His movements became more fluid and confident. The anxious panting that had been his constant state gave way to relaxed breathing. Most tellingly, he began to play. Really play, chasing balls, pouncing on toys, even initiating games with Buddy during their now regular playdates. Kate documented everything, adding to the photo album Doctor. Chen had started. Side-by-side comparisons showed more than physical changes. They captured the emergence of joy, trust, and personality in a dog who had known only deprivation. These photos would prove crucial in the next phase of Rex's journey, finding his forever home. After 6 months in Kate's care, the day everyone had been preparing for finally arrived, Rex's first real run in complete freedom. The location had been carefully chosen, a private 2-acre field, fully fenced and surrounded by trees. Kate had spent weeks working with Rex in this space on a long lead, helping him feel secure in the environment. Today, the lead would come off. A small group gathered to witness the moment. Dr. Chen, Sarah Martinez, who had first rescued him, and several clinic staff members who had been part of his recovery. They stood quietly at a distance, understanding the significance of what was about to happen. Kate knelt beside Rex, who was watching her with complete trust in his warm brown eyes. "Ready, Buddy," she whispered, slowly unclipping the lead. For a moment, Rex stood perfectly still, seeming confused by the absence of restraint. Kate took a few steps forward, encouraging him with the soft voice he'd come to associate with safety. Rex followed, still staying close, his body language uncertain. Then, something remarkable happened. A rabbit darted across the far end of the field. Rex's ears perked up, his body tensing with natural instinct. He looked at Kate as if asking permission, and she nodded encouragingly. What happened next brought tears to every witness. Rex took off running, really running, for the first time in his life. His powerful legs, strengthened by months of therapy, carried him in a straight line across the field, his tail held high and his ears forward in pure joy. He ran until he reached the far fence, then turned and ran back, his speed increasing with confidence. Each lap became more playful, more exuberant. He began making wide circles, not from habit, but from the sheer pleasure of being able to choose his direction. His running style was still slightly awkward from his old injuries, but no one watching would have called it anything but beautiful. The video of Rex's first run, posted on the rescue organization's social media, went viral overnight. Millions watched the German Shepherd discover freedom, and thousands of comments poured in from people moved by his joy. Among those viewers were Tom and Laura Bennett, watching from their home in Colorado. The Bennetts had been following Rex's story since his rescue. As parents of 2 children and guardians of 40 acres of safely fenced mountain property, they had been waiting for the right moment to inquire about adoption. Their email to Kate was heartfelt, describing their experience with German Shepherds and their desire to give Rex his forever home. After careful screening and several video calls, Kate arranged for the Bennetts to visit. Their children, Emma, 12, and Jack, 9, had been prepared for Rex's special needs and understood the importance of respecting his space. The first meeting exceeded everyone's hopes. Rex, now confident in new situations, approached the family with gentle curiosity. When Emma sat quietly on the grass, reading a book, Rex chose to lie down beside her, a gesture of trust that moved Kate to tears. The transition to his forever home was planned meticulously. The Bennetts modified their property based on Kate's recommendations, creating secure spaces and quiet retreats.